Welcome back to the Post Show, episode 4 already. These are flying by. We're having a blast. Thank you for listening. On this episode, we talk about the Invincible finale, as well as some things that are going big on Netflix right now, like Shadow and Bone and Mitchell's vs. Machines. We get into a bunch of anime stuff. We talk about Tokyo Revengers, To Your Eternity, Jujutsu Kaisen, now that we're both watching. Talk about the whole subs versus dub argument. A bunch of MCU news, since they've laid out quite a bit of their schedule. So, lots to talk about. Thank you for listening.
Oh, hey, Grant.
Hey, Dave.
How are you?
Good. I'm good.
Did you... Okay, the first thing I want to talk to you about is
Yeah.
Invincible.
Yeah, boy.
Tell me you're caught up.
I'm done, boy.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I did my homework.
I don't know. You came prepared.
I came prepared, yeah.
So, yeah, I think the last time we talked, it was like, I think the last week they had aired episode 7, which is a pretty big episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like before that, like 4, 5, 6 maybe were particularly slow, and I think like maybe that's where you were at.
I was at, so I had, and that was the thing too, I had mentioned that I had, like, not a hot take, or I had said it was not a hot take, but I think I tried to watch the 4th episode. I couldn't get through the first 15 minutes like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just don't know what it was. It just wasn't clicking, and I was like, fuck. Like, is it... I wasn't sure if it was, it wasn't the right time and place to be watching it, or what it was. I think that's what it ended up being, because, you told me to watch it, and saying episode 7 was such a big deal, and I'm like... or it was the one to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got I was up early one morning, and I was like, all right, let's check them out, and I'm glad I did. Like, it was just like a rut getting through that first little portion of the episode, and what a ride this show is.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, really good. Like,
have we talked about, just like a random sidebar, we've talked about how ridiculous the casting is a bunch.
Yeah.
But like, did we mention, or did one of us mention that like the Rockman tertiary villain guy is Mahershala Ali?
Is that who that was?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like, what? Oh, and also...
What a stacked cast, like...
Did you see who executive produced it?
Who?
It's fucking Seth Rogen and his...
I buy that.
And like, of course, we buy it. It makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
But I was like, I know he's like, they're big on creation at this point. Like, they'd EP The Boys, and a bunch of other shit like that.
Well, I think they do more. Like, they're not... Like, I think The Boys is very much their show.
Yeah.
And like, they had that relationship with Amazon. So when I saw that, like, because they've done quite a few shows with
it
them
was
now
so...
at this point.
This is so up their alley, and I just can't believe I kept missing that in the credits. I was like, oh, this makes literally all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, that was tight. So, how do you feel about... Obviously, spoiler warning, we haven't said anything yet, but we're going to talk about the whole first season.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good. Like, I definitely enjoyed the second half. It's funny, like, I had a hard time getting through the beginning of the 4th episode, but I think from the second half of the 4th episode to the end is definitely where the show was strongest.
Yeah. They start paying shit off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The setup, like, considering what they have to set up, I thought, like, that pilot is among some of the better pilots. But yeah, like, from 3 to 4 or 5, it's a bit of a stretch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man.
But do you know what the problem with the pilot is?
What?
Again, like, it was good. Like, the pilot is good. Like, you watch the show, and, like, it's very much the show in the pilot, but they leave, there's that big twist at the end. I feel like the word of mouth was based on the twist alone.
Yep.
And I think that kind of soured it a little bit. Like, so, like, if, like, I think that, it was risky and it paid off, but I feel like if they had, I mean, there's a lot of people that watched it, got halfway through it, they're like, no, not for me. But that's not the show, right? Like, the show truly reveals itself at that big moment at the end where Omniman, like, murders the fuck out of, like, the Guardians of the Globe.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, that's the show. Why didn't you show me that from the beginning?
That's the thing, right?
Like, I feel like, it's a gamble, and then, and that's where shows, I think that's where shows can be a little risk-taking nowadays, because they make their thing, they put it out to the media, and then that engine just powers the hype, and it helps draw in the crews. Like,
especially if you're a big studio, you know, or a streaming service.
So, you know, now that I say it, it's not as risky for them to do, but it was just, you know, it was the first episode it's not a wash by any means, but it was like, oh, this is good. This
it felt
okay.
a little dishonest to you, it sounds like, in the beginning, or the way they structured it. That's fair.
And then you get to that point, and then you get to the second episode, and they continue to, like, they show the themes they want to show. Like, they show the blood, they show the cussing, and all this and that. And it's like, you guys should have just done this from the very beginning. But they also run the risk of it being too similar to The Boys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which you could so clearly see that relationship.
Which, you know, and I think it's smart. Like, it's smart that they did, because The Boys is also, like, a graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
Adapted to reality. Like, I'm really good they didn't try to do this. It was smart that they made this animated.
Yeah.
You know, because it would have been exactly compared to The Boys, which
100%.
I think it's one of the best shows from last year. I
The Boys?
genuinely, the second season was tremendous. Like, I loved that season.
Really?
The Billy Butcher there, the main guy, Carl Urban, like, that dude
he's ridiculous.
He has my ticket for every line in that. Like, anytime he says fucking diabolical. It's like an instant laugh for me. I love it.
I can't believe how straight he plays fucking Bones in those Star Trek movies. I love it. Like, I love
that dude's got range, yeah.
Dude, like, I'm a doctor, Jim, not a mechanic. Like, like, it's so hard to sell that. Like, and he nails it every time.
Well, here's even better. Him in Lord of the Rings. His lines.
Amir?
Amir. Yeah, Amir.
Yeah.
Anyways. The lines he delivers, he's so, like, proud and noble, and, like, he's like, this man is a horseman. Like, he's a rider. Like, I buy this shit. Like, he's out of anyone in that cast, he sells it more than anyone. I love it.
What's fucked about Lord of the Rings, especially when you watch some of the fantasy shit that's out there today, Shadow and Bone, I'm not taking a shot at you. Have you heard or seen Shadow and Bone?
I've seen it on Netflix. I haven't touched it.
Okay,
I probably won't.
It's fine. It's like, you know, top 10 in the country and, like, global Netflix, which isn't, you know, when I say top 10, I mean, like, they have, like, a top 10 on all their apps, right? Which is, like, what's being watched the most. Mm-hmm. So it's supremely popular, which, to be fair, like, you put a Netflix original on Netflix with a lot of push, it tends to go number one. Mm-hmm. It's based on a really popular book series. I'm almost done, the thing. It's like me and the wife's current thing. And it's fine, right? But, like, you know, this show doesn't exist without, like, Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, especially, like, paving the way, right? Mm-hmm. And, like, we've talked a lot about GOT and, like, how they really nailed it in certain parts of that show. And, like, before that, Game of Thrones, like, go watch, or I'm sorry, Lord of the Rings. Go watch Lord of the Rings just with the subtitles on. And just read the fucking dialogue. Like, dude, it's straight out of the Tolkien book. Mm-hmm. And it is so Middle Earth and so, like, Old English, but it's never too Old English that a regular person at the theater is confused by the meaning. You know what I mean? Like, it's just old school enough. And, but hold up. If they don't, like, if the actor really doesn't fucking sell it, it just doesn't work. It just falls apart. And this is big pieces of this Shadow and Bone show. Like, there are pieces of a good show in here, but every now and again, like, if you get a performance that's just a little bit uneven, or the dialogue is just, like, they go for that that tone,
what is it?
But they miss.
Is it the dialogue, or is it the present? Like,
I think it's a bit of both. I think the dialogue has a tendency to be clunky.
Because it's based on, like, I'm not shooting against young adult novels, but it is based on a YA series, correct?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, kind of the trap right there.
I don't know how young adult, like, we're talking. Like, there's not a whole lot of young adult stuff in this, like, at all. Like, it's I would say it's super close to a Game of Thrones clone.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, there hasn't been a sex scene or anything. It's 6 hours of it. I mean, you know, like, I would say it's like an adult series. But anyway, all of that to say, like, it's just, you know, it's inevitably going to be compared to fantasy stuff that came before it.
Sure.
Because of the way they're going about the show. And, it's just like, It's just small misses here and there really add up to like this is it's what changes you from being a really great piece of work to like, yeah, that's okay. Watch it if you've got nothing else to watch. But like, I'm not coming here swinging. You know what I mean? Talking about how great Shadow and Bone is. Like, but like, anyways, I don't know. That's a random tangent about Lord of the Rings because the dialogue is like they just go for it and they stick the landing throughout that whole series. Same with GOT a lot of the time. And then I don't know, random. And I was saying that because of what's his name?
Carl Urban.
Yeah, he sells it. He fucking goes for it. Mm-hmm. If you like don't believe all the bullshit that's coming out of your mouth, it doesn't fucking work. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, that's enough of that. Invincible.
I think everyone should watch it. Like it's really good. It's funny. As I was watching it, all I could think about is I wish they would take this format of animate, like, taking like a graphic novel and animating that is all I can think about is I want them to make Saga, which I don't know if you've heard of that.
Nope.
It's by Brian K. Vaughan. Fiona Staples is the artist. It's similar, like it's like an Image Comics property. It's really, really good. It's like a sci-fi Star Wars meets I don't know, like Star Wars meets not Pulp Fiction, but
you want them to create this series.
But yeah, I was watching it. I was like, fuck, like if they, because it was also like a similar art style. Like I feel like they could recreate the comic to that. Like I know they never will. Like, and I read online people were like, oh, they should do that, and the guy's like, no, like we're not going to do that. But like, but it was really good, and I'm glad it was 8 episodes. Thank fuck, like because there is just
8 long episodes,
which is good, which is what I like. I find that's the problem with TV.
They went for it.
And they got everything they needed to. I feel like there's no stone unturned. Like if they brought something up, they finished it to the end. Mm-hmm. They clearly set up other seasons in the correct way. Like
did you hear about their renewal?
Seasons 2 and 3, and I don't doubt it. I mean, this was cheap to make because the animation's not like amazing.
I was gonna ask you about that. Like, have you noticed? I don't know if you've watched a lot of these Netflix animes, but like the ones I can think of are like. I know that this is a Prime anime, but like these American companies like Amazon, Netflix, like these companies that are making their own animes in-house, they have a very specific feel. Yeah. And I've never really thought, we've talked about this before, like with Attack on Titan and like whatever else, and obviously My Hero, you don't think you have like a super acute eye or astute eye for animation until you notice giant differences.
Absolutely.
But like, the way this show is animated, it reminds me of like Blood of Zeus, which is a Netflix anime, Castlevania, which is a Netflix anime. It's very like 2D and like I don't know.
Do you know what it reminds me of? It's gonna sound weird. It reminds me of South Park.
Yeah. 100%.
It's
obviously completely different art style, but like the feel, I know exactly what you mean.
The feel of it is very, because it's at moments they're just floating. It almost feels like they are like a paper cutout kind of on screen.
Yes, like not a lot of depth.
Exactly. Yeah, there is no depth in a lot of the time. It's very much like a solid state background.
But
but it's not like
bad.
It works. No, it's not bad
always
at all.
Works.
It's unique. It's very unique to this show.
Oh, you know what else is like
What's
fucking
that?
Archer.
Oh yeah, exactly. That would be.
I don't know if there's a term for this kind of animation or what. But it's like that. I guess that's maybe
right on the money.
Someone would say it's like kind of like American, like Western versus Eastern animation. I don't know what it is, but it's different. It really sticks out when you list those shows we just mentioned, like Archer and Invincible, Blood of Zeus. I think those are all American, and they look. If you compare them to the other stuff we watch, there's just a very, very, very distinct difference. Mm-hmm.
Not bad, but it's just like clearly no. But so just like the thing, I think the best thing about Invincible, we won't stay on this for too much longer, but they have a whole episode. It's like it was a Trojan horse to set up the season 2 villain, and at no point in the episode were you like, oh my god, this is what they're doing, until they tell you clearly that's what this is. And then
who's the season 2 villain again?
Well, it's going to be Marshall Lee's character, Titan.
Okay. Is it?
I think so. I don't know. but like they had that whole episode where he convinces Invincible to go and help him,
Yeah,
for
and
his
he takes
family,
over.
and
That
he
was
takes
so
over.
good.
But that was the thing. It was a total Trojan horse episode of like it simultaneously moved the plot forward believably. It made sense. It had character development for, is it Mark's character? Invincible. His name's Mark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
yeah.
it was it made sense for his character arc. Progressing forward, but then it set up who the villain, like, or at least a recurring villain will be, and it was all completely believable. And by the end of that episode, I was like, fucking good on you guys. Like, you know.
I wonder what they're gonna do with Omni-Man. Do you think he's just fucked off? I'm very
He'll be
curious
back.
about him.
That's a
Viltrum.
season 2 finale.
Yeah, that was a great conflict. So the one question maybe before like we move on, were you satisfied with Omni-Man's motivations, the twist, the reason behind him murdering the Guardians? Because that's really what they're playing to a lot of the whole season, right? It's the why. What's this man's secret? And then we finally get it.
Well, no,
happy with that?
I think to the very end he was still lying to his son. Like, it wasn't, I know they say like they're going to bring, we're going to bring more science to these people, like they're going to destroy the planet.
Oh yeah. I think that becomes immediately clear.
Oh, okay.
But like my point was like why he killed the Guardians and the whole like the reveal of him, like the idea being like he's just prepping the Earth for invasion, more
I
or
buy
less. Yeah, like that was like the thing is like what other reason would he have wanted to kill the Guardians for? You know what I mean? Like, you were satisfied with him basically being a villain, just trying to get to bring the Earth to its knees?
Absolutely, I buy that. Because you knew, like, technically, because even then, like, they did give him a good run for his money. Mm-hmm. And even then, when Immortal, when the two kids try to bring back Immortal, and then he goes ripping off to fight Omni-Man. Like, that was the closest he got his ass kicked.
Man.
Was when Immortal showed back up, and then of course he got fucking ripped to shreds again.
Man,
but just the whole
J.K. Simmons voice acting, eh?
Everyone, Walton Goggins' Cecil was very good.
Cecil's solid.
Yeah,
Cecil's very solid. Yeah, that whole cast, man, that is just ridiculous.
And one last thing is they towed a good line between like a high school drama and superheroes.
Yeah, because
that relationship could have dragged on into something else completely. And I think they took it to the point where they needed to, like, the work life and home life balance kind of thing. And that was the thing too. It's all believable characters. Like, they're slightly, I don't know. It's like it embellished a little bit because it is kind of like an over the top show.
Yeah, of course.
So even like
everybody's a slightly exaggerated version.
Exactly, but even then, like they still like they told that line of between exaggeration and grounded, and I like I said, they definitely could have done that a lot worse. Mm-hmm. And
God, yeah, it's like, have you seen other anime? You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
100%. So yeah, that was Invincible. What a fun ride. I'm glad it was week to week. I'm glad it was renewed.
I'm really looking forward to the fall seasons for sure. I've
got like a couple of things. You want to go next, or you want me to get on?
I'm gonna throw a quick little one your way.
HMU. Hit me up, kids.
Oh, hit me up. The lingo. So we had a family movie night last night, and I've been hearing over the weekend these crazy things about the Mitchells versus the Machines.
That's number one right now on Netflix. Like for
Dave,
the movies, it's an animated movie, right?
That 100% deserves to be number one in the movie section.
Really, it's a Netflix animation too, right?
It's a Sony Pictures joint, but I think Netflix bought the rights to it. There's a lot of weird drama with this movie. I think there was some weird bullshit with a producer like refusing to let them keep the name The Mitchells versus the Machines, and wanted to have something stupid. And I think the creators were pushing back on it. And then I think conveniently COVID kind of fucked the release of it. And then when Netflix purchased it, because I think whoever was trying to, whatever the bullshit was, like, because it's Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
I know those names. They are human names.
Well, it's like the Lego Movie guys.
Oh yeah, I watched the trailer. Like, they did Lego. Didn't they do Spider-Verse too?
Well, yeah, they did Spider-Verse. It's more. Anyways, Dave, this movie is stunning.
It fucks.
All three of us were on watching the movie last night. They're just absolutely
Who's
in
three?
awe.
Who's the third? Who else was in my home?
Anna Crane and I. It was family movie night.
Oh right, yes, family movie night. Yes, you're off.
And
yeah.
it was honestly, Dave. We were all laughing out loud. It's not often you watch a kids movie where it's genuinely funny and it's not
just for the kids, and you just sort of have like a mildly good time.
Well, there's that weird thing where some animated movies, there's the jokes for the kids, and there's the jokes for the adults.
Yep.
This, in my opinion, some people might disagree. I think it hit right in the middle where the jokes are for everyone, but they are legitimately good jokes and well-crafted jokes where a kid can understand and enjoy them, and an adult can understand and also enjoy them.
Interesting.
It's not like an overhead joke to, clearly for the parents, and the kids are like, "Wait, at me, mom." Like, it's nothing like that. It's
family fun.
It's all around family, and the way I think there's a chance people will watch it and be like, "Oh my god, this was made with the Gen Z mentality," or something like that. Because there's a lot of
upset about something.
I definitely could see there's a conversation for that. If people say that, I think you're a fucking maniac. But just enjoy it for what it is, and I highly recommend it, Dave. It's genuine. It's
Mitchells versus Machines.
It's a great voice cast. It's Danny McBride.
Oh fuck.
Abby Jacobson. She was in Broad. Did you ever watch Broad City?
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
That show.
Broad City Pod. Let's do it.
Dude, Broad City. I don't know who showed it to me or what, but I remember that show just took me by surprise. I was like, I don't know. I think the advert for that show almost discredits it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's two ladies, but they're funny and gross. And I'm like, oh, is it like an Amy fucking Schumer show? That sounds awful.
That was the problem. It was being pushed into that category. It was being boxed in. Yeah.
Exactly. It puts them in this narrow space where they can't breathe. And then you watch the pilot, you're like, wait, what? No, this is fucking awesome.
No, very good show.
Yeah, that's a killer show.
But yeah, it's a great movie. The animation, it's more in line with Spider-Verse than the Lego Movie. Funny enough, it's similar to Invincible, where the characters themselves almost look at moments out of place, but they fit. I'm not even gonna attempt to explain it. You have to watch it for yourself, and I don't know. It's just a great movie. Like I said, it's there's literally something in there for everyone to enjoy.
Cool. All right, I'll check it out. Let me hit you up real quick. 4 episodes in, ongoing show. Have you heard of Tokyo Revengers?
It was on my list, and I had to just put it on the back burner because there was just a whole bunch of stuff.
A lot of shit going on. So, I won't spoil anything. It's an ongoing show. There's 4 episodes out. I'm caught up. The synopsis, which I won't do justice, off the top of my head, is that a mid-20-something-year-old guy, I would classify this as a half shonen, half isekai kind of show.
Okay.
Well, mostly shonen, I guess. Anyway, unhappy middle 20-something-year-old, like most 20-something-year-olds as they approach 30. He basically wakes up one day with the ability to go back in time, but only precisely 12 years back. And he realizes that it seems like, and this is all within the first 10 minutes of the show, right? He realizes that his high school girlfriend is killed in an accident, and he decides to set the goal to be to try and save her life. And he seems to be able to bounce back and forward between the present and the past.
Okay.
So that obviously lays groundwork for a lot of fun storytelling. So you can sort of see what he does in the past and how it might affect the future. Mm-hmm. Pretty creative. Time travel stuff is always fun. Mm-hmm. Really, really well drawn.
Oh really?
It's kind of, I would say it's it's different than My Hero. And,
okay.
But it's the things that it shares is that it's pretty consistent throughout, and then at least once or twice an episode there's some really really good shots, like not like amazing combat animation per se, but just like, you know, light work and like landscapes and shit like that. I'd say it's more of a drama, but there is some action because of the nature of the plot. I would say it's probably worth your time to check out the pilot.
Yeah, because
I don't know if it's big or successful. You know, Crunchyroll is pushing it right now.
Okay.
But I've kind of got it in my weekly rotation at this point because I'm watching it in tandem with. I think it comes out the day of or the day after To Your Eternity, which I'm also caught up on.
I have also started.
Oh, really?
Dave, this was a very homework-heavy week for me because, well, To Your Eternity, you've been, you know, on my case. And not like you're harassing me by any means, but you've been saying do it. Like, do it. And I'm like, okay, so... yeah, if we can make a transition to that, holy shit, that show is going to be big in one way or another. Do you? Yeah. Like, I had... I'm 2 episodes in. I should say I'm only 2 episodes in. I started it and I immediately said I gotta start watching this with Leanna.
Dude, so, that is, like I said, not to interrupt you again, but I just gotta say that, like, this is the show. Like, if you don't watch anime a lot, check out the pilot, or if you want to get someone close to you into anime, show them this pilot. I showed it to my girlfriend, same deal. She the funny thing is, she asked me though, she was like, right before we turned it on, she's like, is this sad? I was like, it'll make you feel. But
let's see what emotion pops up.
Yeah, but you know, I said something like, it's not happy. I don't know what I said. So what did you think?
It's really good. Super. It's like, it's clearly set up to not be what it seems, like right from the get-go. Which I kind of like, because you can tell it's going to be a bit of a mystery. And you know, it was like, I watched the 2 episodes that I've seen. I watched them back to back, and you know, I watched the first episode. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Where this is going to go? You know, it kind of should, like, this could just be like a one season, like a one-off kind of thing, or it could be like a pending series. And I think no matter what, no matter where it goes, I think I'll be happy with either. And then I finished the first episode. I'm like, okay, let's dive right into the second one. Like, I'm in. I'm an idiot. I should have listened to Dave sooner.
That's what most people say all the time.
and then the second episode starts, and I'm like, oh,
right.
So, okay, and it was like, okay, let's reassess, let's recalculate. Like, again, not bad by any means. Like, I don't want to come off that way. I was like, where the fuck is this show going?
Yeah.
And it was, and funny enough, Dave, this is why I think you should watch The Promised Neverland, at the very least the first season, because you watch the first episode. There's not so much a tonal shift as To Your Eternity as there is in Promised Neverland, but by the time you get to the end of the first episode, you think you know where you're going. And then you get into the second one, you're like, okay, I see the journey we're going to go on.
Right, okay.
But it's good. Like I said, I don't want to keep watching because, you know, Leanne and I have a bit of stuff to finish up before we start onto a new show there. But I really want to jump back in. And I think when the season is done, I would like to... Yeah. I would really like to sit down, because I think there's going to be some truly, truly remarkable things in this show. And they've showed that within two episodes alone. I was blown away with the storytelling and the visuals. Like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think episode 4 came out today or yesterday, but I haven't seen it yet. But episode 3, I would say, gave me a better idea of what we're getting ourselves into.
Okay.
And like what direction the show is going to go. And I'm still pretty happy with that. You know, and I don't want to say, like, it's just so rare that a pilot is so good, you know what I mean? Like, that pilot is almost like a great example of why, like, just like a really great short story, you know what I mean? Or just like a great way to expose someone to the art form or the medium or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, yeah, I'll keep up with To Your Eternity and Tokyo Revengers, but yeah, check those out, folks, if you haven't already. What you got for me, Grant?
Dave, so this is the final part of my the homework round. Moments or 40 minutes prior to us recording the podcast this evening, I caught up on the first 2 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, dude, I'm on 2 episodes too. Nice.
Dave, I simultaneously want to kick myself in the ass for not watching this week to week, and also enjoying the fact that I can binge this and just absorb all of it. Dave, this show is so fucking slick. The world, like, Dave, this is like all the boxes for Grant are all ticked in the first episode.
Yeah, boy.
And the important thing is, going into the second episode, it didn't hold back and it continued developing the world. This show, you know, there was talk when this was airing week to week, and you know, it was from various YouTube channels and personalities that you and I follow. Everyone, the internet has said this show is going to be a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely believe that. And I agree with your statement of where the fuck was the animation studio on Attack on Titan.
Isn't it like hilarious and also infuriating? It's like, what in the actual fuck?
Yeah, it's crazy how similar they look, because, like, you know,
the pieces are there, man.
Prior to Mappa, you know, it was
Wit.
Was it Wit? Yeah, Wit Studio
For AOT.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, they had their, like, that was the show. Obviously, it's based off, like, you know, the manga, so, like, the characters were drawn as such. But, you know, it was very much like a Wit Studio style, and it was kind of interesting to see Mappa take on those characters that were adapted from the manga and kind of, like, visually change them a little bit. Like, you know, also they had the
time skip, or the
time
4-year
skip,
gap.
so
they
were
like,
able to draw them as adults, and it was a little bit different and take, like, not creative liberties, but you know what I'm getting at. But you can tell that's just their style, because you see that in Jujutsu Kaisen. And Dave, oh my god, I gotta finish this thought. Dave, if you even remotely like this show, you owe it to yourself to watch Mob Psycho.
Really?
Dave, oh my god.
Psycho again, here we are.
Dave, I know, I like to blow a lot of smoke up the show, the show's ass. I love that show, and Jujutsu Kaisen scratches a very similar itch. And I was surprised how funny this show was. Like, I thought this was going to be very broody and a little, like, too cool for school, and that's the problem with fucking marketing, man. They want it to come off as a certain way, and then
it's like badass, like, you know, it's very dark, like the way it's drawn and the color palette, and yeah, I was kind of expecting that too. But the pilot of the show plants some comedy seeds kind of early, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah,
but yeah, they nail it.
And the character, and it, you know, and it hits all that. Like, it reminds me of, you know, like Demon Slayer, and like, it has like these, like, the friendship and the bond, like, you know, I don't know. I'm 2 episodes in, and I was like, fuck, I gotta get upstairs and start prepping for the pod. I want to watch another one. Like, I think
I'll watch episode 3 tonight. Yeah, man, it's good. It almost, not to go back to where we just were, but it's almost a bummer, because you see what this animation studio is capable of, and they got a show as big as AOT, and like, it ended up clearly like just being a timing and a budget thing, and we've talked about that. But like, it's just a bummer that we didn't get to see their absolute best shot, knowing now what they can do, because this show is so cool. I'm super excited on that note to look at what Yasuke looks like.
Oh yeah,
because that's also Mappa.
I know that dropped on Monday. Is that in English only?
Yep. I don't know about only, actually.
It's such a. I'm really not trying to sound like a weeb here, but it's a really tough pill to swallow for the dubs.
Yeah, no, I tried to explain that when we were watching To Your Eternity. The lady was asking me, like, do you like is this available in English? And I was like, probably. She's like, well, why don't we just watch in English? And I was like, that's out of the question. But
those cards aren't on the table.
But I explained, and I don't know if you had I'm sure you've had your own experiences with preferring subs over dubs, but you know, the one that was etched in my mind was when Dragon Ball Super was airing. It was always ahead in Japanese, and like, I had started watching like some shows, most shows and subs, because that's just what people recommended. But I ended up, as the dub caught up, I switched to the dub for a few, and then I started doing that, like, comparing other shows, you know what I mean? And it's like, you just miss a lot. Like, you wouldn't think that it would be that bad, but the dialogue shift from Jap subs to English dialogue is so bad. Like, you miss so much a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
The way I tried to explain it, and I don't know if this is, like, canon, so someone tell me if it's not.
Okay.
But the way I tried to explain it was that, like, it's kind of like, you know, a lot of the anime is based off of manga, and a lot of the time, like, or just the original language is literally just written in the script, and they just record that dialogue. And it's pretty straightforward. Then they take that dialogue, and they do a direct translation, and there are your subtitles, or, you know, as direct as they can, because it's not always great. It feels like when you dub a show, they go, what's the point of this scene? And it's like, Goku has to learn how to drive, and then they just sort of write new dialogue.
Yeah.
They just sort of like, okay, well, the point of the scene is Goku learns to drive, so just write funny dialogue, make some jokes in this area, and it just comes across so fucking clumsy and, like,
fake. It comes across
yeah,
as fake
it's
sometimes.
like man, like, and I'm not saying like DBZ has like fucking crazy hidden gems buried in the dialogue, but like when you just see the difference sometimes, like the same beats of the same story just being completely missed, or they're just changed, sometimes needlessly. It's like, wait, you changed all that so you could make a silly, like, a joke that has nothing, you know, like, it's just all over the fucking place.
A lot of the time for me, like, obviously the dialogue is true, because, you know, like, not even anime, I exclusively watch anything with subtitles,
right?
So even like if it's in English, like I still do that, you know, and a lot of the time the subtitles will not match. The subtitles will be the same for, you know, like a sub version of the anime, but the dub dialogue will not match a lot of the time. So that's annoying too. Like, you know, like there'll be like two sentences in a row, and it's just not even remotely the same thing.
And it's like just all over the place.
So, and there's that, but I think for me the big thing, it's the energy that, and like, not just, you know, it's very rare where the English voice actors can match the energy of a scene, and it doesn't seem genuine a lot of the time. You know, that's for me, that's the definitive thing where I will 10 out of 10 times watch the sub if there's a sub available.
Yeah, I don't know how the actual, you know, recording process versus the animation process works, but you almost like get the feeling that like the original, in most cases, the original voice actors just seem to be more informed, or maybe they have more exposure to the actual process, so like they're making decisions that are much more, you know, they have better access to the material. I don't know what it is, but and a lot of the time you hear about how actors and voice actors want to make a role their own and not just do a direct translation. And sometimes like a direct translation is exactly what you need. I don't know, there are exceptions, of course. Like, I think most people, you know, not 90% and 10%, but like I think the majority of people, for example, say that Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood,
that's what I was going to say,
the dub is more popular than the subbed version. I've never actually even seen the sub version. So I
watched it. I think years ago when I first gave it a go, as you know, on a recommendation, I think I watched it in dub, and it was good. And then
I was sub. You mean?
No, I watched it dubs originally.
Oh. Okay,
and
yes,
then,
me too.
And then I don't know what it was. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I think in the second season or the second part, I gave the subs a try, and I was like, oh, this is infinitely better. Like,
oh, you found the subs was better?
Oh yeah, like I said, it's the energy thing. You know, like it's not the dialogue. It's not the way the voice, not the words being spoken. It's the way the energy being put into the words. Like I remember I was curious one time, and I just threw on an episode of My Hero with the dubs. And the second I heard All Might open his voice, I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking good on that. And I was like, this is why I don't watch dubs.
Oh
like,
god, dude, yeah, the My Hero dub is just
Oh
my god, so is the Attack on Titan, dude. Have you seen the dub?
I've never. I feel like that would ruin something. I actually would. I'm not trying to be elitist or anything, but like why would I do that to myself?
We're coming across as, you know, maybe a little pretentious right now, but like I'm telling you guys,
I don't think so. Like
it's also the overwhelming sentiment, right? Like amongst the viewers like of these shows is like,
can't all be pretentious. You know?
Yeah,
we have a point. You know.
So yeah, dude, I forgot the fucking My Hero one, and yeah, dude, the Attack on Titan ones are just atrocious.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, it's not great, but I'm due for a Full Metal rewatch before I get them blasted all over my arm in a month. God willing, if
it's coming down the pipe, is it? Eh?
Well, we'll see. You know, I don't know if you've heard about this whole pandemic thing, but like turns out it's been complicated for some businesses. Nah, yeah, I kept getting delayed, so we'll see how that goes. And if it actually happens, but I think maybe I'll try rewatching it before that happens. I don't know. The other, so maybe just to wrap on Jujutsu Kaisen, what do you think you're gonna do? Are you gonna blast through that sumbitch?
Ooh, wow, fuck. If we're gonna, I would very much like to. That's the problem.
Oh, I could do it too. Yeah, like
it's, I don't know. There's something about it, like it just. There's a fucking hook in me, man. Like I watched those 2 episodes. The OP, oh my god! Like Leanne was sitting on the couch beside me, and she's just fucking like grooving to the OP. I was like, yeah. Like,
I heard
what a banger.
I heard not to look too close at it because there's like apparently like it may foreshadow this season's whole arc, but on top of that, future seasons and even like stuff ahead of the manga.
Oh.
I hear like the OP was for whatever reason like a bit like a very different thing in that regard compared to other OPs.
Shit. Well, I wasn't looking that close. I was just listening.
The music,
I was and I noticed in the second episode the outro. This show oozes style. Like there's like them dancing and like it's like this like pastel colored. I don't even know the art style that they do it in, but this show is the fucking package, man. Like, I feel like such a fucking loser for not watching this week to week. And because Dave, how many conversations have you and I had as the show is airing? I'm hearing a lot of good things about this, man. Hey, should we watch this? Should we do like a Jujutsu pod like in tandem with it? And like, you know, what happened, and like, you know,
we had a lot going on.
We had a lot going on. I'm just grateful that we have this show now. In all, like, you know, hopefully there's not like if there's a dip in quality, there's a dip in quality, but
yeah. Do you know
like
anything? Do you know anything about season 2? Like, have they released any information about it?
I'm sure after the pilot of this, they like renewed it instantaneously. Would be my guess.
I'm just curious on a timeline. Anyway, I guess we'll see. We should talk about, you know, later, like off air, about like. Should we limit ourselves to a number of episodes between?
Okay, all right, well, let's do that. Because right now we got what? We got 2 Year Eternity. We have Tokyo Revengers. We have...
But I can hit pause on those or...
Well, no, I would like to continue watching those week to week. Where's my list here? Sorry.
Oh, you're going to keep going with 2 Year Eternity? I thought you said you wanted to like bench that one and binge it later.
Oh, like, if anything, like, I'll be... I need like a week and a half to catch up.
Yeah.
Like, we need to clear out Made in Abyss, and then... We're also watching Superstore, that's a good time. That's a nice wind down show.
Very decent.
And so we're almost done that. So I think, but no, like I said, this is, it's, you know, when you see a show and you're like, you know, your significant other is going to enjoy it. You're like, I think it would be a better experience if I just waited to do this with them. So
wait, which show?
2 Year Eternity.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So
agreed.
yeah,
but that's fair.
That's the thing. We also like we still want to finish Made in Abyss because that's the thing too. Like there's so much hype around it. It's good and we really like it.
Is that on Crunchyroll?
No, it's on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
It's 12 episodes. It's a quick romp from what I can tell, but just life. But But yeah, no, Jujutsu Kaisen. Maybe okay. Let's cap out at 5 episodes a week.
Yeah. Okay. Cap out. Absolute max.
Absolute max. And we'll set the timer on. We'll call it Sundays the refresh because that's when we get stuff done. That's when the anime gets done is on Sundays.
Yeah, 100%. Sundays are definitely like the what have I got laying around here kind of day. All right, cap out around that. The last thing, I don't know if you have anything else, but my last thing that I had, well, 2 is Demon Slayer is pulled ahead of Mortal Kombat.
I called it. I told you, Dave.
Yeah. But also like fucking worldwide, like Demon Slayer. I think we talked about it last week. Is the highest grossing animated film of all time worldwide at this point.
Yeah,
it is driving me fucking nuts. Like everyone I follow, all the reviewers and all that shit are like talking about how like this is like one of the best anime films of all time. It's like the expectations are so pumped. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be hard. Also like. Keyframes are all over the place. Like it's just going to be tricky.
I'm very grateful. I have seen nothing on this movie.
I should also say, don't touch. I know you know this already, but don't touch a fucking trailer. It's like the trailers that are out now are most of what feels like most of the plot.
Sure.
I had made a mistake of watching a few of them a while back. So I don't know. I think that you and I are of the same mind. We should just wait until our current provincial lockdown is over, reevaluate, see what happens with theaters, and then figure out what we want to do.
Because keep in mind, by the time our lockdown is, because I don't know, it could get extended. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. But the PVOD release is the beginning of June.
Yeah.
So we're only a month away.
God
so
damn it would just be so fucking sick to see this thing in theaters.
It would.
You know what I mean? It's beaten Mortal Kombat, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Like it's worldwide. It's setting worldwide records. I agree. Like, if we wait a little bit longer, you may as well wait a little bit longer than that. But it's just like, fuck. It's like,
I will say,
I to see in theaters.
I'll be in the same room as you when we see this.
Yeah.
There's no question of that.
But I think
I'm very much excited.
But we do have to wait, right? Like we have to wait no matter what. So let's just wait and see if we're extended again, and then we'll reevaluate. I don't fucking know. I was gonna bring up the MCU news as the last thing.
Yeah.
They released like this video I sent to you earlier today.
Goosebumps, man.
Yeah, so it just did a bunch of recap and then of like the existing MCU, and then it more or less laid out their schedule with like some fun little footage.
That was a surprise. I thought when you were sending me, I thought that was just they had the Stan Lee voiceover. I'm like, oh, this is just gonna be a nice little recap video, and and I was like, oh shit, these are some new movies. Like
they're getting back to it, eh?
Yeah.
What of what you saw was among your most hype?
Most hype
of the to come releases. Actually, maybe we'll make this fun. What was the least hype?
Least hype, because let's go down. So are we talking about footage shown or title card?
Just the schedule. Yeah, I can read them all out. I got them right here if you want.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Black Widow.
Okay.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Eternals.
Sure.
Spider-Man.
Word.
Doctor Strange 2.
Fuck yeah.
Thor 4. Black Panther.
Okay.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania. And Guardians 3. And that is actually in order of theatrical release. Give me your least hype on 3.
All right.
1.
Okay. Well, I need the list in front of me. This is gonna be 2 on the fly. What is this? Phase 4 release dates. This will be on the top of every news website right now. AV Club. Sorry about this, Dave. This is not good podcasting, everyone.
This is what happens.
Okay, so in order. No, see, that's not even doing it right either. Fuck, man.
Black Widow, least hype.
No, okay. Least hype.
Black Widow.
Probably Guardians. No.
Man.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, that was my second pick. God, that second movie, what a fucking... Bleh.
That's my most,
I think it's also the worst in theaters, isn't it?
Is it really? I remember the villain being cool, and I felt like they kind of just didn't do anything for me. Okay, so what's next for you then?
From the least, I don't know.
Yeah.
But for me, my least hype is Black Widow. But I think we talked about this a while back. I don't know if it was on the podcast. It's just like how remarkably mismanaged this whole fucking film is to begin with.
Sure.
Like you waited so long to give her a movie that you have to give her a movie post-death, wedged between 2 existing movies in the canon. What? Fucking what?
I don't know. I will say I haven't watched a single trailer for this. And then the scene, what they showed in this clip today, I was like, oh, you know what? This might be. Again, I'm not. You're probably.
No, I bet it'll be good, man.
You're gonna fly off the handle here. I did get Winter Soldier vibes.
No, it's fine. No, like espionage, like thriller, like I get it.
That's
like,
my shit. I like that.
Yeah, like it's a, fine. Like the movie could be great. It might be great. I don't know. Like we're literally judging a book by its cover because it's not out yet.
Sure.
I think what I'm just irritated by is that it's coming out in 2021 and she made her debut in like fucking 2009.
Yeah.
And her character's literally dead. Like we just waited so long, and there are people clamoring for a Black Widow movie for so long, and they made such a big deal about the first Marvel movie headed by a lady was Brie Larson. And that whole thing, everyone's like, yeah, but what about Scarlet? What about Black Widow? This story you've cultivated for a decade. They're like, yeah, well, we'll get around to that. We're waiting to kill her first. But you know what I mean? I was just like, yeah, I would have paid money to see this at any point in the MCU journey, because who doesn't want to know about Black Widow? I think I'm just irritated that like I've seen so much of her now, and her journey's literally over.
Sure.
That this feels like a side quest movie. But the fact that they killed her character, like they gave her so many good beats throughout the rest of the thing. I agree. I feel like it's an optional movie, and you've done her wrong. And apparently, I'm passionate about this. No, I don't know. I don't know. No. I don't actually care that much, but you know what I mean? It's just like, why?
Yeah. No. I see that. But the thing, like, the thing I'm curious about, we'll really know how mismanaged it is. Like, if there's nothing that progresses, like, not about moving the story forward, but do you think they're going to be setting up like another tertiary character that's going to pop up now in the current times? Like
and I'm not saying this to be negative, Nancy. It is Marvel. Yeah. Have they ever had a film that doesn't set up another film?
But that's the thing. That's the curiosity of this movie. Her character is dead, and it's set. I don't know how many years prior. Yeah. So what? How is this?
Maybe a successor.
Exactly, because like you said, because it all depends on where in the timeline this takes place. I don't know if this is set in like the 90s and it's 20. I guess that wouldn't make sense. Are they de-aging her for this?
No, not de-age. No, because it's not that bad. It's between Winter Soldier and Civil War, I think. She it's like she goes home mid-mission or some shit. She goes back to Russia or wherever the fuck she is.
I thought this was way in the past.
No. It's like in the middle of shit.
Oh, well,
I'm 99% sure about that.
They're setting someone up, but
yeah, I mean, you saw the cast. Like, it's a legit cast, so I'm sure they got these people probably for more than someone in here is doing more than one occurrence, right? So I don't fucking know. Whatever. But other than that, I am very curious to see what they do with Black Panther.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'm super excited for Shang-Chi, man. Just that shot of him jumping up and kicking two dudes in the face on the bus.
That shot on the train or whatever, yeah.
Or whatever. I am fucking stoked.
That looked good. Eternals. That's the first footage ever I've seen.
How dope did Angelina Jolie look in that scene with that sword? Like,
man, I felt like such a dork. I was like, yo, that does look pretty fucking sick though.
The problem when they touched fantasy in Marvel, like Thor being the one. The reason Thor got better is because they moved away from the fantasy elements. There was still there's remnants of obviously like his lore and his universe, but they lean into the sci-fi stuff, and it was for the better.
Yep.
This is their chance to go back.
I don't know anything about Eternals.
I don't either, but like, I've got some it's gonna again, sacrilege. I got visually, I got Lord of the Rings vibes.
No, I don't think you're wrong. Like, obviously,
just that scene with the sword. I was picturing like Aragorn, in the Ghost Army. I was like, wow, let's go.
They're doing something. Like, I'm very curious. Fucking cast is stacked. You were saying like apparently their tested screenings for it did really well.
Yeah. I think this movie's gonna be fucking huge.
I'm super curious because I know literally nothing about the Eternals whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's is one that I'm. Oh, and you know who directed it, eh?
Oh, Nomadland.
They're putting that on everywhere. You know, from Academy Award winning director.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, all right, well.
Yeah, Bob Iger was just fucking fist pumping in the air. Make me billions.
Have you heard? And I won't. If you don't want to hear it, you know, these are not spoilers because it's everywhere in the press, like, you know, casting news as far as Marvel shit comes out. Have you heard the seemingly confirmed rumors about Spider-Man 3?
Like all the other Spider-Man?
Yeah, all the other Spider-Man are coming back. Villains from the other franchises are coming back.
I heard Alfred Molina, who is
who's that guy? Doc Ock?
Doc Ock is coming back, and that's the best Spider-Man movie. To this day, still the best. Spider-Man 2 is still the best movie.
Oh, I haven't rewatched any of those in a while, but
great villain.
But yeah, so it seems like they're really gonna go multiverse or timeline.
Get kooky with it.
Yeah, they're gonna mess with it. It makes sense that, like, you know, if you look at the release schedule, that's at the end of 21, and then right after that is Multiverse of Madness.
That's probably my most favorite.
I'm extremely curious because they're pulling in Elizabeth Olsen, like Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
So between, and you know, those films follow each other, right? It's Spider-Man first, then Doctor Strange. I assume that there might be some kind of link there if Spider-Man is meeting his alternate reality selves in some way.
I'm wondering if they're setting this up as like two paired franchise movies.
Yeah.
Like, you know, not direct sequels from one to the other. Like, it's like, I wonder if they're going for like the End Game and Infinity War.
Yeah.
Keeping them apart, one leading into another.
Or maybe even just the impact of one of these movies, like Returnal or Spider-Man, influences the next 2 or 3 movies. Certainly
That's
possible.
crazy. We're going back, starting in September, every 2 months.
Yeah.
We have a movie. Or no, I guess it breaks it up after December. So it goes to it's September, November,
March,
December.
March, July. And then a big break till 23 to February. It's crazy, man. Think about the fucking detour they took for firing James Gunn. They don't get Guardians 3 till 23. Because they, quote, fired him, hemmed and hawed while the heat went down, had to rehire him. But in the fucking meantime, he did Suicide Squad. Because he signed Suicide Squad. He hadn't even started pre-production or anything by the time they hired him back for Guardians 3. So, like, he signed the deal. They were like, yo, just kidding, please come back for Guardians 3. He's like, yeah, sure, but it's going to be 18 months later than what we originally wanted, because now I have a new movie.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I mean, he took the W, clearly. So, God, you know what the ultimate win is? If Suicide Squad 2 crushes.
I hope it does. From the trailer, like I said, trailers can be deceiving.
Remember how good Suicide Squad 1 trailer was?
Looked great, and you know what? And even more recently, the Mortal Kombat trailers looked awesome. Really good. That? No, I didn't, because I heard it was just poop.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not gonna, like, you know, I say that I'm going to see it, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it, but I don't want to be let down at home for $30. So.
Yeah, no, that seems fair.
Yeah, I'll rent it for sure, but
I haven't touched it either. It's funny, man. Like, there's a couple giant franchises out there that have just never done it for me. Mortal Kombat is one of them. Also,
that was a staple growing up for us. Yeah,
really.
I got the Blu-rays and everything. Every now and then I'll throw those back on.
Never seen one of those. Never seen a Fast Furious movie.
Oh yeah, I've boycotted those. I blew both my eardrums out in the movie theater during Fast 5.
Oh really? Well, you know,
fucked my ears up for life.
Well, that might, you know, maybe I'll see it now. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was loud. IMAX and everything, and just fucking foolish move. Yeah.
That bad, eh?
Oh, Dave, I was my ears were ringing. I couldn't hear anything for probably like a week, and I went to a doctor, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to." The whole night, like tinnitus and everything, like
Jesus,
lasting. Oh yeah, because of Fast 5.
Well,
if I go to movies now, I gotta wear earplugs. If I know, like when I saw Dunkirk in theaters, I had my fingers jabbed in my ears the entire movie.
Dude, that bad?
Oh, that movie was fucking loud though. Yeah.
Rest in peace,
Good
Paul
movie.
Walker.
R.I.P.
I think that's it, bro.
I think that's it.
Damn,
full, man. We had a lot. We had a lot. It was a homework week though.
It was homework
stuff to catch up on.
I got down to it.
One last thing, quick last thing. Returnal on PS5 came out on Friday. It's one of Sony's new exclusive games. I've been playing
with
that.
every other good fucking next gen game.
Yeah, boy.
Last 5 years. Have you heard of this good game? It's a PlayStation exclusive. Like, don't even bother saying it. I'll just assume that the best games are on PlayStation.
Anyway, it's kind of like a bullet hell roguelite game, stuff that I'm just not good at, but it's, we can get into it more once I play it a little bit more next week there, but just a technological showpiece, like in the game itself, but the stuff it does with the controller and just the audio. It's the first time I've ever fired up a game and they're like, wear headphones on, you'll like, this is the definitive way to play this game.
I love that when games and shows and whatever are like, oh, this is best experience through a headset. Like, we spent time making sure you've experienced it properly, so please experience it properly.
It's tremendous. Like, it's almost impossible to explain, like, just, through talking this way, but like, if when it's raining in the game and you're underneath the rain, just like the vibration that the controller makes, it's hard to say, like, it feels just like rain. People say, how does it feel like rain? But it somehow does. Like,
what do you call
weird.
it? Is it haptic feedback?
Haptic feedback.
Haptic feedback. Yeah. All right.
Anyway, we'll talk about it more. But I've played. I was able to clear the first boss. I'm close to. I'm starting to learn the moveset of the second boss. It's one of those games that, like, it's hard, but it's you're supposed to learn as you play, and it's strategy and timing and all that.
What was it called? Returnal?
No, Returnal.
Returnal.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's good
I'll
stuff.
look up a trailer. You
should check out the Digital Foundry tech review of the game.
Okay.
That's really, it's like a 25-minute romp, but like these guys are like, this is their bread and butter, is they break down the tech and then they get into story stuff and all that too, and it's really 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 cool. Yeah. Returnal.
Okay. Damn. Thank you guys for listening. If you're still here, we're having a blast doing the post show. I think we'll be doing this into the future. So yeah, if you enjoy us talking about it, then let us know on any form of social media or whatever way you feel appropriate. You can just send good vibes. It'll make it its way to us. Otherwise, stay tuned. Next week we'll be back with My Hero Academia and more post show. Thank you for listening.
Later, guys.
Cheers.